Good morning. Yes, we're back on the road with police again, and we're finding out how they're cracking down on crime. On the trail of stolen goods and drugs in Doncaster.
He's in the out of town. He's on the Amsterdam carriageway going the wrong direction.
And meet hero dog Georgie, who's won a special award after rescuing a man with a broken back from a freezing river.
You're watching Crimewatch Roadshow. Hello and welcome to Crimewatch Roadshow. We're live every morning focusing on the crimes which can affect all of us. Also, coming up on today's programme. The 88-year-old man robbed at knife point as his sick wife watched helplessly from her bed.
And he says, if you don't keep looking up there and keep your mouth shut, you're going to get this.
And how police are disrupting drug gangs with some early morning door knocks.
Hey, police! You're under arrest on suspicion of cultivation of cannabis.
Today we're with South Yorkshire Police and Sean is in Sheffield city centre.
Yes, we're looking at how police are tackling burglary hotspots in South Yorkshire. Take a look at this little lot. Just some of the stolen goods recovered, and there are 30 garages full of stuff.
Thanks, Sean. First, though, police are appealing for your help to track down the attackers who used an unusual but potentially lethal weapon to threaten an elderly couple in their Rotherham home.
Have a look and see if you remember anybody.
Dennis and June Horton have been married for 63 years.
My dad's my mum's main carer because she suffers from Alzheimer's, which she has done for the past 5 years. And I must admit, it must be love because they're still all right together after all that. Yeah.
But in the last year, June's condition has deteriorated rapidly.
And it gets worse every time. Every week anyway. Now she can't walk. Sometimes I get cheesed off, fed up. But I've got to keep going for her, haven't I?
Life was hard enough for this family. But then in March, things got even worse.
It was on a Saturday night. Now I have carers coming in for wife. And they usually come in from 7:30 to 8 o'clock.
So when Dennis went to open the door, he assumed the carers had arrived. Instead, a masked man barged into the house.
He slammed the door, he says, "We're police."
The man pushed Dennis towards the living room.
He'd knocked me down then, boy. He's straddling over me.
Look over there.
And he says, if you don't keep looking up there and keep your mouth shut, you're going to get this. I was gobsmacked, actually. Kept looking the other way. Thought, no, I don't want that.
As the man held a cutthroat razor to Dennis's neck,
Don't move.
June watched helplessly from her bed.
I think my dad was more frightened for his wife, my mum, than he was about himself or anything else that could have happened, knowing my mum's condition, and that she couldn't really help herself.
Then the attackers' accomplices arrived. They headed upstairs and then started ransacking the couple's bedroom.
All three men was covered from top to bottom in a cap, scarf round the mouth. All I could see were the eyes.
And the man with the razor wasn't done yet.
He took my wallet out of my pocket and he took £150 out of my pension money.
The other men helped themselves to June's jewellery, but they weren't happy with their haul.
Where's the money? I haven't got any money.
Then, the attackers heard the sound of a distant siren and fled. The robbery has had a huge impact on Dennis.
Well, I just don't go anywhere now. We used to go out regularly, but not anymore. No. So all we do now is sit here in the house.
And the jewellery the robbers took was irreplaceable.
It was my mum's jewellery, wedding ring, a couple of rings that had been hand-me-downs from her nana and her mum. It were more sentimental value than anything else.
And June's pearl necklace was particularly special to her.
We used to go out shopping and she said, "Oh, I like that," so I'd go and get it. I was soft like that.
Dennis has been left shaken by the incident.
It were awful, really, what happened. I found the people that did it, it'd be wonderful.
I hope they get prison, if they get caught. They ought to be ashamed of themselves, don't they?
Well, DCI Zaf Ali has been involved with this case, a particularly nasty one, this one, Zaf. What can you tell us about the weapon that was used?
The weapon, unusual, an old-style barber's cutthroat razor, which is similar to this one. The one that was used has a wooden handle. This one's slightly different, but really unusual because we don't see these used in the crimes that we investigate normally.
Right, what can you tell us about these men that you're looking for?
They're aged between 25 and 40 years old. There were 3 men, all white. They were all wearing dark clothing and had their faces covered. However, a witness tells us that one of them had a blue and white hooded top on that was in hoops rather than vertical stripes, and 6 foot tall and thereabouts.
And a witness also saw the men getting into a car, didn't they? What can you tell us about the car?
Yeah, the car is a white BMW 1 Series motor vehicle. It reversed at high speed into Deer Park Road, which is close to where Mr and Mrs Horton live, and left at high speed.
Jewellery was taken. Tell us a bit about that. Of course, it was of great sentimental value.
It was a short pearl necklace, and also she lost a wedding ring as well, amongst other things that were taken from her, but obviously great sentimental value, and I know you've got a picture of that.
And really, it seemed just such a callous crime.
Extremely callous. Mr Horton went through a terrible ordeal, and I would like to appeal to people who might be involved in crime on the edges of this. If you've been offered this jewellery for sale or know anything about it, please get in touch. I'm not interested in prosecuting anybody for the handling of stolen goods for this. I just want to catch these people. OK,
that really was a heartfelt appeal, Rav.
Next, we need you to look closely at today's selection of crooks caught on camera. You've heard of the movie Gone in 60 Seconds about a group of car thieves, right? Well, this next crime is straight out of Hollywood, and the star of this drama is a 1972 blue Ford Escort Mexico. The setting is a classic car showroom near Ripley, Surrey, in March. Talking about classic cars, here comes an old-style Land Rover. All of a sudden, it reverses full throttle through the showroom window. Glass flies everywhere, and 2 men jump out of the Defender. One gets behind the wheel of the Mexico, while the other attaches a chain to it. 38 seconds after the ram raid, the Landy tows the 120 grand motor out of the showroom in the direction of Ripley. Police are hunting these men, as well as a third person who was driving the Land Rover. The Escort bore the number 27 on its side and had the distinctive reg DAD 422K. If you can help us catch these carjackers, then give us a call. Aintree, last October. A man walks into a sports store and starts nicking expensive coats. Look, you can see his reflection in the doors. Seconds later, more join in the raid. One hangs back and swings a spanner menacingly. Clutching 13 coats between them, worth over £1,300, the men dash out of the shop. Police suspect the gang visited the store and another owned by the same retailer in the Speak area of the city earlier that day. Let's not give them a sporting chance. Someone knows who they are. It's customary to leave a tip for good service. But the guy slowly putting on his jumper in this Walthamstow pub chooses to leave something else, a wooden stool, which he hurls at the bar, narrowly missing another drinker. That's gratitude for you. Police say bar staff and members of the public tried to restrain him outside, but he managed to get away. Officers suspect he was drunk and flipped his lid after staff refused to serve him alcohol. Let's call time on this pugnacious punter. Well, did you see any familiar faces there? If you did, please don't keep it to yourself. Give us a call now. The number to ring is 08000 468 999. Those calls are free from most landlines, but some network and mobile operators may charge. You can text us on 63399 if you prefer. Text CW space and then your message, and please don't forget that space. Text will be charged at your standard message rate, or drop us an email. The address cwr@bbc.co.uk.
Well, next, we've been finding out how police in South Yorkshire are trying to make the Bolby area of Doncaster a safer place to live. South Yorkshire police are tackling organised crime head-on. They're cleaning up a part of Doncaster which has become a burglary hotspot.
We're trying to do a whole host of different policing tactics to try and combat the criminality that's taking place in Bolby.
The burglary epidemic is fuelled by another problem.
We've got some intelligence regarding houses which are being used by organised crime groups for the cultivation of cannabis.
We're out with police as they crack down on the drug gangs of Doncaster.
You're under arrest on suspicion of cultivation of cannabis.
This is Operation Dauphin. It's 8 a.m. at Doncaster Police Station, and DCI Craig Jackson is briefing his team for a day of action. They've identified suspected cannabis farms on the Bolby estate, and they want to shut them down.
The cannabis cultivations tend to be linked to organised criminality, and we've got to keep up the momentum and keep up the pressure on our offenders and making sure that we make it Bolby as difficult an area for these people to operate as possible.
The officers never know what could happen, so they're kitted out for every eventuality. They're heading to 2 addresses, and leading the first team is DS Neil Beresford.
We've received information in relation to cannabis growing equipment being taken into the address, and we've also further information in relation to cannabis being grown there. Hopefully when we get there, there will be people in the address and there will be cannabis plants being produced there.
At the first property, the team splits up, covering the front and rear exits to stop anyone escaping.
Police!
The officers search the house for evidence of drug production and the people behind it. They find a young Vietnamese man sleeping in a downstairs room. And seconds later, they found what they came for. Hidden behind a curtain, a room filled with cannabis plants.
This is typical of a cannabis factory which we are discovering on a regular basis. This bedroom alone is like a nursery really. It's immature cannabis plants. It's a new setup here. There's a second bedroom which is all set up with lighting systems, lots of bags of compost, and if you come further into the room you'll see the technical side of it. The electrics have been bypassed and all the power packs are set on here.
Organised drug gangs often do this so that the amount of energy being used doesn't make the supplier suspicious. But it's massively risky and could easily have started a fire.
But there's no doubt within a couple of weeks this bedroom would also have been full of cannabis plants being grown.
You're under arrest on suspicion of cultivation of cannabis. You don't have to say anything to may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely in court.
There's a Vietnamese male who's been arrested downstairs, found in the living room, just in a bed, probably an illegal immigrant. These people are put to work in these type of cannabis factories, and it's an ongoing investigation which we will have to make.
Meanwhile, DC Chris Lindley's team are heading to another part of the Bolby estate. Police believe a family lives here, so they'll be taking a different approach.
Can you come to the door, please? It's the police.
Chris sends 2 officers around the back. Getting in is proving difficult, but not for long. The back door is unlocked, and the family dog is at home. There's no sign of anyone else in the house, but it's clear that children live here. In the basement, Chris has spotted something suspicious.
Down there, it's breeze wall and a wooden door which is locked and quite tightly sealed. There's some piping, copper piping, which is going into there. The pipes are cold, but the hole at the top of the door, if you put your fingers through, you can feel very warm. It's very warm in there. Again, we'd associate that with cannabis cultivation. We're just in the process of trying to get some equipment to force the door open in the absence of any key.
The team are trying to break through the door without damaging the pipe they're concerned about. One final smack with the enforcer, and they're in. Their suspicions were correct. The room is full of mature cannabis plants. And once again, the electrics have been bypassed.
10 cannabis plants, 2 to 3 foot high. Obviously, in this address here, there's a woman that lives here, our intelligence shows, who's got children, so that's probably an explanation as to why the door's quite securely been locked, and this stuff sort of packed out of the way so children don't come to any harm.
Both raids have been a success. Now it's time to bag and tag the evidence and dispose of the drug-growing equipment. It's been a great morning's work for Operation Dauphin.
And we'll see more of that team's work a little later on, including an unbelievable car chase. Also, still to come this morning, the hard-working shop assistant left distraught by an armed robber.
You've got 5 seconds to open the till.
I just thought I don't want to die. I just wanted him out of the shop as fast as I could.
And we first met her as a puppy. Now, 3 years on, find out how Georgie grew up to be a fully fledged hero.
Well, I'm in the heart of Sheffield city centre in the lovely Peace Gardens. But I'm with Sergeant Richard Hunter because he's appealing for information about a very nasty hit and run. Richard, what happened?
It was about 6:35 p.m. on Wednesday, April 29th this year on Hathersage Road on the outskirts of Sheffield, where a car was in collision with a cyclist and the car failed to stop at the scene.
Now, this cyclist was badly injured, wasn't he? Very seriously, and also his bike damaged.
He was, yeah. The bike was actually snapped in half by the force of the collision and left at the side of the road. And Stephen Coupland, the cyclist, did receive serious injuries. He had 2 punctured lungs, several broken ribs, and an open fracture to his arm, along with ligament damage and extensive bruising.
Absolutely horrific. And James, you were driving nearby. You saw it all unfold.
Yes, unfortunately. I was coming out of Sheffield and noticed a black car in my mirror. He overtook me in a ridiculous position, ridiculous place. He then overtook a car in front of me, even a worse place, and I thought, oh, he's going to cause an accident. And then, sure enough, a few seconds later, he just went straight through a junction, hit this cyclist who went up in the air like a rag doll, and then just drove off. And we were all really shocked.
Absolute horrible thing to have to see that. Richard, obviously, you want to catch this driver.
Yeah.
Tell us about him.
Well, the driver, from descriptions, we know to be an Asian male, between 20 and 25 years old, short, dark hair, and with a round face. And he's described by witnesses as sitting quite low in the driver's seat, only just been able to see over the steering wheel, with a limited view ahead of him.
And what can you tell us about the car?
The car we know to be a black Honda Civic Type R, registration YG51RWP. It's important for us that we find out where that car went after the collision on 29th. We recovered the car on the 10th of May, and we're interested to find out exactly where that car has gone in that time. We now know the new keeper to be a legitimate owner, and it's had a repair done to its passenger side door mirror. So anybody who maybe have provided parts for the repair for that car, we'd be interested to hear from.
Richard, thank you very much. We really do need your help with this one.
Now, we're rarely conscious about the way we walk, but it might surprise you to know that when it comes to detecting crime, our walk, or gait, can hold vital clues. And Hayden Kelly is here, who is a specialist in gait analysis. Good morning, Hayden. What exactly does that involve?
Well, gait analysis is the style or the manner in which a person walks, and forensic gait analysis is the identification of persons by the way they walk or by features of their walk.
And it's not just about feet, is it, at all?
No, it's not. I mean, a person's gait involves everything from their head movements through to their arms, shoulders, torso, legs, knees, feet. The whole body movement is what we're looking at.
OK. Now, you're actually in the Guinness Book of Records yourself, aren't you, as the first man to use gait analysis forensically back in 2000 for a case. So what was that?
That was back in July 2000. It was the first time forensic gait analysis was admissible as evidence in criminal law, and it surrounded a series of jewellery robberies in South East England, and the gait analysis was a key component in that matter.
Congratulations. Now, forensic gait analysis was also used successfully in the Bradford riots, wasn't it? Tell me about that.
Yes, that's a while ago, and it was a matter of public disorder, and the element where gait analysis was involved was in an aspect where someone tried to set fire to a Labour club, and gait analysis, along with other forensic tools, was part of the evidence in that case also. OK, now we've got some CCTV of it, which you want to talk us through. Let's just have a look at this. This is actually one of the people convicted of that disorder. And what are we looking at here, Hayden? Well, on the left-hand side, you've got the person who's actually in the riot itself, and it doesn't show the actual incident and doesn't need to, but it's a person they were interested in. On the right-hand side of the screen, you've got the suspect under surveillance, and what we're simply doing is looking at an unknown person on the left and scientifically comparing that to a known person on the right. The aspect we're interested in is the person's right foot and how that right foot moves, but more importantly, the magnitude of that movement.
OK, we're just going to have another look now, and it was that right foot, you say, that had that distinctive movement that was able to match them up together and being one and the same person.
Yes, it's a brief clip of the actual riot itself on this particular piece of footage, but we've got more footage available on the right-hand side of the screen, which perhaps shows it more clearly. OK, well, let's have a go. We're going to put it to the test now, Hayden, all this advice. What we've done here, our team has mocked up a crime. This isn't a real crime, and this isn't a real criminal. It's one of our staff members. Now, using the gait, as you've just described, in a moment we're going to see 3 different people, and I am going to guess which one is the offender. So here we go. Here's 3 people. Now, one of those was the person in the VT that we just saw, and they all look pretty similar to me, I'm going to be honest, but I'm going to say, let's say B. Hayden, any guesses as to who it could be? Oh, I would go with A. OK,
and I am being told in my ear, in fact, you are correct. It was A. Why would you say A?
Well, you saw from the first piece of footage that the person walks with very abducted feet. In lay terms...
Let's try and have another look at that. You're saying abducted. Is that pointing outwards?
Correct.
OK, so we're going to see him here. You could notice that his feet were pointing out slightly. In fact, they completely are. Hayden, you're totally right. And that was enough for you to realise from those 3 people which one was the same person?
That's correct.
Fascinating stuff, and that is why you do that for a living, and that's why I don't, Hayden. So thank you for joining us. Right now, let's go over to Sian.
Rav, regular viewers may have noticed how often shop robberies crop up on the CCTV that we show. But have you ever thought about the effect these crimes have on the people who work on those tills late into the night?
That 15 seconds, it ruined my life.
3 months ago, an incident that lasted less than a minute left shop worker Neil too scared to leave his house.
I just thought, I don't want to die.
For the past 4 years, Neil's been working on the tills at a local supermarket.
I get to work by using the bus. 3 buses I use. It's quite a few to get there. I don't mind because it's a nice place to work.
It was a Tuesday evening, and Neil was hard at work at the supermarket.
It was just a normal day, just busy, trying to put stock out and get everything done. Just a bog standard day, to be honest, nothing out of the ordinary.
At 5 minutes to 10, Neil's shift was almost over and he was looking forward to heading home. But as Neil was tidying away, a man entering the store caught his attention.
When he first come in, I just looked at him and I just thought, I've got to keep an eye on him because he looks the type. He had a Sainsbury's bag for life, face covered, hood up, all dark clothing.
And Neil's fears were almost instantly confirmed.
You've got 5 seconds to open the till. 5, 4, 3, 2, come on, mate, safety's off, come on.
Neil did what he was asked to do. He opened the till and gave the man all the money inside.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
£200.
Yeah, I just thought, I don't want to die. I just wanted him out of the shop as fast as I could, to be honest. And then he walked out. Not run out, just walked out, just plain as day, like he'd just been served.
The robber was caught on the supermarket's CCTV. Now police need your help to identify him.
We're looking for a local male. He was white, aged in his 20s. He was around 5'10" in height. He was wearing either dark blue or black hooded top and a black mask across his face. Somebody is going to know who this guy is.
It was a shorn-off shotgun because I played enough computer games to know what one looks like, but it looked really rusty, you know, like it was a really old gun.
Based on that distinctive description, if anybody's seen anybody or knows that anybody's got that in the house, let us know.
Since the robbery, Neil has needed time off work and counselling. The incident has had a huge effect on him.
I've just had 2 months off work. I've finally gone back last week. And it's just made me not want to go out, especially at night. During the day I've been fine, but at night I've just kept to my room and I've not really wanted to go anywhere.
The thing for me, reading through his statement that's really telling, is that at the very end of it he says, I get paid £7 an hour. I don't expect to come into work and be faced with this kind of thing. It's the impact it has on everyday people at this type of crime. Like I say, it's them that are subjected to the fear.
I think they're cowards, to be honest. They can't earn their own money, so they have to go in and hold other people up, and they don't realise the effect it has on them people.
5 seconds to open the till.
Who they think it's a victimless crime. It's not. It's horrible. I never wish it on anybody. I really wouldn't.
Now, that armed robbery took place in Nether Edge in Sheffield, not far from here. It's one that the police are very keen to solve. There is a Crime Stoppers reward of up to £10,000 for information leading to arrest and successful conviction in this case. And if you can help, get in touch with us on the usual Crime Stoppers number. It's 0800 555 111 RAV.
Now it's time for a look at today's wanted faces. Police forces around the country are asking for your help to find these men. And first up today, police in Merseyside want your help to find this man, Anthony Raymond Fairfield. He was jailed back in 2006 for possessing a firearm and conspiracy to cause GBH after a shooting in Liverpool. He was released on licence but didn't keep to the conditions and is now wanted back in jail. Fairfield has been on the run since 2013. As well as having Merseyside connections, police think he may have since travelled to the Netherlands or Spain. Next up, here, 29-year-old Omar Ajmal. He was found guilty of conspiracy to supply cannabis after police officers intercepted a car with 10 kilos of the drug hidden in laundry bags in the boot. Ajmal failed to turn up at court, where he was sentenced to 3 years in jail in his absence. He has links to Manchester and London and sometimes goes by the name Yassin Mukhtar. Or do you recognise this man? This is Drew Bradfield. He's wanted for questioning by Met police officers following a nasty attack where the victim was stabbed in the leg. He's got scars near his left eye and eyebrow and has links to London, Northamptonshire and Leicester. Or what about this one? This is Anthony Peter Graham. He's wanted for questioning by detectives in Manchester in connection with a car parts scam which saw people from across the UK defrauded out of more than £13,000. Graham's got family in the Manchester area and has worked in Liverpool in the past. So, If you recognise any of these faces, make sure you pick up the phone. You can call us on 08000 468 999, or you can text us on 63399. Text CW space and then your message, of course. You can email us to the address cwr@bbc.co.uk. Now, it's back to South Yorkshire Police and their dramatic day of action.
Earlier, we saw how Operation Dauphin was cracking down on drug production and organised gangs in Doncaster. But the operation's not just about smashing down doors. For PC Tyrone Alley and Eamon Larkin, cutting the number of burglaries is a top priority. They're on the hunt for stolen property in Doncaster town centre.
This part is about looking as to where the property has gone and where the property may well be and how people dispose of that property. I wonder if I can show you.
They've built a strong relationship with the second-hand shops and regularly check them for stolen property, which criminals may have tried to sell on.
Sometimes it's done through illegitimate means, sometimes it's done through stores like this who buy it legitimately and bona fide. Kevin, I think you've got our contact details. If anything happens, please, by all means, give us a ring. I'm more than grateful. Thanks very much for your time.
No problems here today, so Tyrone's search continues. Another officer involved in Operation Dauphin is PC Rod McHenry, or Mac to his friends. He's out in this specially adapted camera car on the hunt for burglary suspects.
Every time a car is read by the camera, if it's got any intelligence on it, etc., it will bring up on our system.
It's not long before an ANPR camera across town spots a van which is wanted in connection with a theft.
What we're going to now is a Ford Transit that's just hit one of our cameras.
Going rather quickly. He's got a lane on the dirt pavement onto the dual carriageway back. He's in the out of town. He's on the empty-town carriageway going the wrong direction. Wrong direction.
News comes in that the van has been lost. Suddenly, Max spots it in a side street and gives chase. It's clear this driver isn't stopping for anyone.
I'm behind him now again.
Using every trick to avoid capture, the van swerves dangerously around Doncaster's busy streets.
Stand by.
Mac comes within inches of his suspect, but he just manages to slither away.
I'm on St Mary's Road now. He just collided with a parked vehicle. Got a marked vehicle behind him now.
Then for the second time, the van starts driving the wrong way down a dual carriageway.
It's the wrong side of the road. It's the right side of the road again now.
With severe damage to the wheel, the van begins to slow down.
Stand by, slowing, 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 stand by.
The driver finally gives up, and Mac rushes to arrest him.
Get out! Get out! Get out! On the floor! Get down! Get your hand behind you! Get your hand behind you! Put your hand behind you! Get your hand behind you!
The man has risked the lives of other motorists, and Mac's not taking any chances.
His speed started to slow down because he's obviously damaged the front of his vehicle, so he couldn't steer properly. In the end, he's just give up.
So it's back to the police station. No charges of theft are brought against this man, but he is charged with a string of driving offences.
We needed to stop him, and we needed to get a hold of him, because if we continued, somebody could have been seriously injured because of his manner of driving, because sometimes he went on the opposite side of the dual carriageway, so we needed to get him.
Dramatic stuff there. Well, one of the aims of Operation Dauphin is to crack down on those burglars and search for stolen goods. And Eamon Larkin, who we saw in the film, is with me now. Eamon, bring us right up to date, because you've got new facts and figures on the success of all this.
Yes. Since we started work in that area, we've seen a 45% reduction in burglaries, dwelling offences. We've had 30 prisoners arrested and recovered several £1,000s worth of property and 160 cannabis plants.
Well, that's why you're smiling. I mean, how do you track down all this stuff?
We've got officers that search online websites that sell second-hand goods, looking for stolen property. We will also visit second-hand dealers and pawnbrokers, checking out the property that's been brought in and the people who bring that property in.
So what's your best ever result?
Personally, I arrested 2 youths for theft of a motorcycle. Result of what they told us on interview, we searched a flat in Sheffield and recovered over £30,000 worth of stolen goods at that one premises.
OK, that's great. Thank you very much. Well, South Yorkshire Police recover millions of pounds worth of stolen goods all the time, and here's just a selection of it, Jane.
Morning.
Talk us through some of this. You know, where does it come from?
This is just a selection of property that have been recovered from houses right across the Force area.
And I know you want to reunite it, don't you, with its rightful owners. I mean, anything on this table that particularly stands out for you?
Yeah, for me, Sian, particularly this side of the table completely. Interestingly, somebody was arrested and admitted that it was stolen goods and has been convicted of it, but there was so much that he couldn't remember where it all come from. In particular, this sword, which, as you can see, is quite distinctive and in the wrong hands could be really lethal.
No, absolutely. I'm glad you're holding that. It looks really scary. Also, of course, jewellery, that's something that you come across a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see a small selection of jewellery over here. And the thing is with jewellery is often it has a sentimental attachment to it, so we're always keen to reunite those with the rightful owners.
And what sort of reaction do you get from people when you are able to hand it back?
They're always delighted, absolutely delighted.
I bet they are, smiles all round. In terms of us protecting our own property, though, what's your advice?
There's 2 simple ways, really. Firstly, to register it online through Immobilise, which is a free service on the internet. Or secondly, when you buy something new, something electrical, quite simply, take a note of the serial number that's on it.
And briefly, what about if somebody wants to buy something but they're a bit worried about where it's come from?
I think if it feels wrong, it generally is wrong, is always a good way to live your life. Make sure it comes from a reputable dealer with a guarantee and get a receipt.
Brilliant, that's fantastic advice. Rav, back to you.
Thanks, Sian. Yeah, lots of good advice there, actually, about registering your property to show it's yours. But this next stolen item really is unique. It's an historic cup, which some people think could actually be the Holy Grail. I'm joined now by DS Chris Watson, who's leading the hunt for it. Chris, good morning. This sounds very, very intriguing. When and where was this item stolen?
The Nantes Cup was stolen in a burglary that occurred in the Ross-on-Wye area of Herefordshire back in July 2014. It was stolen from the elderly victim and her family, who've been the keepers of the cup for a number of years. The elderly victim herself is extremely concerned at its loss and genuinely fearful that she will never see the cup again in her lifetime.
OK, now, to be honest, it doesn't look all that impressive from here. So tell us, why is it so important?
Previously, from about 1905, some people have actually believed that this cup is always related to the Holy Grail. We're not convinced that that's the case, but there was also some suggestion that it was actually carved from the wood that was used in the cross that Christ was crucified on, so the historic significance is clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we've dug out a clip here from a programme made by the BBC back in 1969, showing a woman who used to look after this very cup. Let's take a look at that.
Quite a lot came over the years. I mean, they came from everywhere, all over the place, you know. Broad and everywhere.
Did you ever see anyone actually drinking out of the cup?
Oh yes, the cup was in a finger bowl, you understand, because it was very torn, shall we say. And then they used to drink out of the cup and then, you know, sort of prayed while they drank out of it.
So, I mean, there is no evidence that it is actually the Holy Grail, of course, but it is very, very old, isn't it?
It is indeed. It's centuries old. In fact, it was kept for centuries in the Nantes mansion in Aberystwyth in mid-Wales. People used to travel from far and wide to visit the cup, sometimes handle it, and actually, in days gone by, they used to sometimes borrow it for its healing properties and leave a cash bond or some sort of precious goods to guarantee its return. Clearly, that's not the case here.
So a massive amount of history surrounding it. Now, just why people can have another look at the cup, you can tell me there's actually a reward that's been put up as well. Yeah,
the family are so keen to have the cup returned to them that they've actually gathered together and are offering a reward of £1,000 for its safe return. West Mercia Police are keen to support victims in as many ways as possible, and one of the ways in which we're supporting the victims in this case is to actually match that. So the overall reward is £2,000 for information leading to the safe return of the Nantes Cup.
Chris, thank you. Thank you for joining us today, and let's hope somebody knows where this is. Sian.
Well, Sheffield is a very busy city to police, and that's why officers need the help of specially trained police dogs here, like Georgie. She really is a star of the dog unit, and we met her 3 years ago when she was just a puppy. John's her handler. Well, she was already showing great signs of stardom then, wasn't she?
She was. She was a little star in the litter.
the whole litter were very good, but Georgie was the star. She went out to a puppy walker, Louise and Tom, who did a great job in bringing her on into what she's turned into today, which is a first-class police dog.
Oh, she's absolutely fantastic. Why is she so special in her job?
As you can see, she's really good around people. She's really calm and collected. She can work around a team. She's got a really good nose. She can find property and people very successfully. And also, there's a little switch behind her ear which I can turn her on to turn her into a little firecracker if I need to.
Oh, and there was a particular incident where she shone.
That's correct, yes. An incident only 2 months after she finished her initial training. There's anybody who knows the Doncaster area, the A1M, just north of Doncaster, there's a flyover, the River Don there. It's a very high flyover, and there was a car, initially came in as a car abandoned on the motorway stretch there. As it developed, it became apparent that there was probably something a little bit more to it, and it's a very high flyover, probably 80 feet high over the river there. The Force Incident Manager suggested that we could go and search with the dogs. We were expecting the worst if someone had jumped from the bridge, but within a few minutes of us getting to the riverside, Georgie very quickly indicated the presence of somebody in the water.
We've got the helicopter footage, actually.
I understand so, yes. She almost dragged me into the water. The only problem being that we were the wrong side of the river. She'd indicated the scent had crossed the river, and we'd managed to identify the man who was very cold, hanging onto a tree in the river that was in flood at the time.
Wow, she did brilliantly, and of course both of you have had an award.
Yes, we say it's not all about awards, but it's nice to be recognised. The Chief Superintendent recognised our work, and also the Chief Superintendent of the National Police Air Service recognised our work there.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Congratulations all round.
Thanks, Sean. Just time for a quick update on what's been coming in on the phones. Remember the shocking raid at the home of Dennis and June in Rotherham? We started the programme with, well, some good calls on that, and even some kind offers of donations from the couple of viewers as well. We've also had a name-in for the driver of the hit-and-run car which mowed down a cyclist in Sheffield in April, causing those horrific injuries. So great work from those that got involved. Please do keep those calls, texts and emails coming in. They really are going to make a huge difference. Sean, where are you tomorrow?
Rav, we'll be ending our first week on the road in Rotherham at an amazing police and community training centre, which looks more like a film set. We're going to be focusing on crimes against the elderly, and I'm going to meet some of the older visitors who go there to hone up their skills on the mobility scooter. So join me for that one.
Will do, thanks, Sean. For more details about the crimes on today's programme, go to our website. But before we go, here is another look at this morning's Wanted Faces. There they are. If any of them look familiar, then do pick up the phone and tell us where they are. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.